exactly could have transpired again between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, because it ended up with the invitation or a call to invitation to the Ukraine president, that is Volodymyr Zelensky. These names, Vladimir Putin, Russia, and Ukraine is Volodymyr Zelensky. And this is what Donald Trump posted on Truth Social. I'm just going to read an excerpt of it as it runs here. It said, quote, "It was determined by all that the best way to end horrific war between Russia and Ukraine is to go directly to a peace agreement. President Zelensky will be coming to DC, the Oval Office, on Monday afternoon, today, as we speak." Remember the other time they had a dramatic, parting of ways. Somebody said, there was something that was brought in that, was not sitting well with the US president. But again, a lot of people are saying, why was Donald Trump, arguing? I like Donald Trump's personality, that shock joke, say it like you mean it. But there's some things as well. I know all Americans right now are scratching their heads and others are just holding on to their hearts, because some of the things that have been implemented, especially when it comes to ICE, are heart-pinching to a lot. But again, this is what caught my attention. There was a reaction from Flouts First Lady Melania Trump. And quote unquote, she penned a letter to Vladimir Putin, and it was dubbed First Lady Melania Peace Letter to President Putin. And quote unquote, this is what I'm just going to read an excerpt of the letter. It's a very long letter shared on their platforms. Quote unquote, "Mr. Putin, as I'm sure you agree, is that each generation's descendants begin their lives with a purity and innocence which stands above geography, government, and ideology." But again, the reactions were mind-blowing. I'm just going to read through some of them. Here's another reaction from a person who said, "Please write a letter asking your husband to release the Jeffrey Epstein files." We've seen that, it's still something that has been, just shoved down. Another one said, "Can you CC Netanyahu real quick before you hit send?" So there's a convolution of reactions here. But again, I think what's going to summarize all this, this historic Alaska summit is the presence of Volodymyr Zelensky from Ukraine. Is he going to turn up? Are they going to agree? Is the ceasefire treaty or agreement going to end this, back and forth? What I know is it's difficult for superpower countries that have powerful nuke deals to come to a consensus, especially if they have vested interest in what's going on in these other countries. There's something they're benefiting as well. And again, there's that dramatic moment where, when instead of Vladimir Putin, using his designated car and entourage, he went in and sat into the beast with Donald Trump. And even there was lip readers trying to interpret what were they having, what were they conversing, the body language. But again, it ended up beautifully. There's a lot of, bromance when they stood on the podiums to do some sort of like, let's say, a press, interchange or conversation. And you saw journalists just, flooding, Putin with questions, and he never answered anything. He just said thank you. He spoke English. He used a lot of semantics and gestures and facial expressions, and he never answered any of the questions, especially with what's going on. So it's interesting to see. But what I'm following up personally is the body language of Volodymyr Zelensky. What is going to be the outcome? Please, can they agree on a consensus and just, sign a ceasefire so that, this war in Ukraine ends? Because it's affecting other countries massively, even when it comes to government deals, even oil deals, fertilizer. There's somebody even had mentioned rice importation and exportation, especially for developing countries and plus many others. So what's going on right there? You might not see how it's affecting you, but it is affecting you. And that's why there's need to actually end the war, especially the killing of innocent lives when it comes to children dying, just mercilessly. It's a call to humanity to pay attention to what's happening right over there. And I think this ceasefire deal should be done as quick as yesterday.